you can't see this on the maquette, but these are open.
What are open?
Down right at the base, there's just like this little open space.
Well, where it comes and becomes a foot or a.
Oh, you mean like the
There'll be a negative
base?
space
Yes.
in there.
Yes.
Yeah, actually
For
a
the
pass-through space.
More of a root
It's just,
line?
to me, it was the trunk, not roots. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna give my,
Mhm.
so when I did the trunk, to make it look a little bit more interesting, I opened this up just a little bit, right here on each of those 4. So it's just like this little opening, okay? The other thing, this is just to hold the tree up. The base isn't part of your design, okay? You can, if you have like monkeys on your tree, they can rest, their little feet could rest on this, because we will have cement bases, but don't figure that into the design, okay? All right.
All the trees will have a temporary base for stability until while you're doing your artwork, and then they'll take them off and put them onto a concrete base. So if you build down from the tree, you can build down to that temporary base if you wanted to do that. And then you just wouldn't attach to that base, it would just rest on there. And then when they transfer it to the concrete base, then it would rest there. Or it could be attached even after the fact, I would imagine.
I'm sorry to ask so many questions.
You ask
but
as many questions
the
as you want.
vertical are not flat, and they're gonna undulate, right?
Yeah, correct.
To what depth? I mean, you're talking 1/4 inch, you're talking 1/2 inch?
Yeah.
For instance, from here, you're going to have a ridge point come out.
Oh, it's gonna be
From there to
elevated.
the end.
Okay, turn this way a little bit.
Okay. On this branch, I'm just using as an example, there will be a ridge point that comes out from here to this edge. It will taper, it'll be about 4 inches wide, this will be back here. And then it'll also taper back to these edges from this ridge point.
So it looks like a leaf then?
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. If you can picture a leaf having ridge points and then tapering out to the edges, the whole tree resembles a leaf. This one has a little bit more structure because we get one that comes out to here, and then we have another ridge point that comes to here. So these fall off to these edges. Yeah, yeah, don't let it scare you. It's a lot more subtle than I think what you're probably
It's
picturing.
not scaring, it's the aggravation factor more than, if you're gonna put a flat plate of steel on it, let's say.
Uh-huh. Each one of those facets it's flat. It's flat. It comes from that ridge point out to the edges in a
Right,
flat
but
manner.
it is elevated up though, a little bit, right?
At the ridge point,
Right.
yeah. But from that ridge point out to the half of the tree, it's a flat surface.
What is the width of like as these come out, what is the depth? Is it the depth of that plate that you have? I mean, this full surface, each one of those 4 things. How wide are they?
How thick
Are
are they?
they thick? Are they like a 1/2 inch thick, 2 inches?
I'm not following.
They start at 4 inches,
4 inches
and then
and
they
taper
taper
out?
down to
Hollow.
less than an
They'll be
inch.
hollow.
Okay.
And
they'll
they'll be
start
hollow.
And they'll be
like
hollow, yes.
An inch at the vertical?
Oh, you mean the thickness of the
Right.
material?
Yeah.
Oh, you're
Okay.
talking about a 1/4 inch
Oh,
until you
okay.
get out to the ends, because when they're cast and it's gonna collect in the ends, and it's gonna be, where it's thinner, it'll be solid. As it comes up, we're gonna have about a 1/4 inch
Okay.
wall.
Yeah, the wall, yeah.
Okay.
That
That's
that
what
might
I
have
was
been your
trying-
question,
Yeah.
your wall thickness.
Your wall
Yeah.
thickness
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
material
Yeah.
will be about a 1/4 inch.
Well, we were also, we were concerned about the long-term, what do I want to say, durability, thank you, of the product, and the longer we listen to Kyle, he has pieces down in Florida and other areas of the United States or wherever he's been, and they look like they looked 20 years ago when they put them up. You have more maintenance issues and concerns with steel and frankly or aluminum from a maintenance standpoint, and so we thought it was a superior choice. And also the weight factor, we did get pricing, and as a matter of fact Kyle's company also does steel, and the weight of a 6-foot tree with 11 gauge steel with a base plate was about 400 pounds, and it becomes kind of difficult to deal with a product that weighs that much. Now I understand you can take the base plate off, which is about 135 pounds, but it just creates this whole other concern and issue. And so just for many different factors, we just thought this was a superior product, you know, to use. Weight, durability, mediums that can be used on it, environmental aspects of it. So that's it just all led in that direction.
The main thing that we run into in projects is the adhesion of the artist getting the paint adhered to the piece. So that's what really you need to be concerned about when you're painting. Is you want to lightly sand the entire surface, of course. Wherever you touch it, try to wear plastic gloves or something, or resand those areas before you paint. Most artists know that, but it's amazing how many issues. So then what's happened is the paint doesn't fall off. You end up getting expansion of air underneath the paint surface, and you create a bubble or something because it wasn't adhered to the piece. Because they were holding on to that while they were painting it, and then they didn't get it sanded or something.
One thing that you offered too was helping the jury artist with,
Absolutely.
with some of the modifications that they might want to choose to do.
Absolutely, and every project that we work with, and we've worked with, we don't count them, hundreds. We always are a help to the artist. We let like Liz, just call us, because if you're going to cut into it, like you already asked about drilling it, a lot of artists like to do that. You need to know what's going on. Well, I can tell Liz, and then Liz can tell you, and it's even more confusing what we got going on here, you know. So, so if you can just call me direct, then you and I can talk until we understand each other. And if we have to get to where I send you a sample or something, then that's what we'll get to that point. If I have to send you the adhesive for you to get it, then I'll send you the adhesive. You know, we'll sell it to you at our cost. But it's best for you to talk direct with us. We know how, when we actually cast them, what the inside looks like, what structure we might have put in, all that. So every question you have, Liz will be able to answer a lot of the painting, you know, questions and stuff like that. But when it comes to structure, the tree, you know, if you're going to cut a limb off, what are you going to find inside? How do you put it back together? Can you do this? Can you do that? Can I stick this to it? Can I, you know, all that? Then just call us direct. We don't want Liz to have to deal with that.
Is it possible to use any of the material that you are making this from? Does it, I mean, if I want to add something, is there anything I can sculpt with that, or is it pretty difficult to do? It's like, I can't get a bucket of it and start.
Yeah, no, but there is a close alternative, and it's the epoxy sculpt type of products. Have anybody ever dealt with it? There's an epoxy sculpt, there's an epoxy sculpt, there's a sculpt it. I don't know if sculpt it's, but we can direct you to a supplier of that. Then you can just call and order them. And what it is it's a polymer or an epoxy-based clay where you mix the two pieces together, and then you have so long to sculpt it. And then it solidifies. Even if you do that, we still prefer you to use. We would prefer you to maybe sculpt it on there to get everything right, but then use something so you can pop it off, and then use some adhesive on there as well. We don't really trust the adhesion qualities of the epoxy sculpt type products to the piece without the urethane adhesive as well.
And you can edit this out, of course, if it's not appropriate, but when we were there, they were making some penguins, and they were about 4 foot tall penguins about, and they had cut glass adhesed onto these penguins, and they were, I mean, they were magnificent looking. They were absolutely beautiful in how that all worked. And so that same concept could be used for the trees, frankly, if you want to do something like that.
A mosaic glass.
Mosaic glass was just beautiful.
Actually, can you talk a little bit, Kyle, about the sort of mosaic process? Are you using the same kind of tile adhesives and grouting and stuff as someone would use in their bathroom, or what are they using for that?
Yeah, any of the mosaic products work. any of the adhesives. If these that we're presently doing down there in our shop, they weren't primed. The reason being is we don't want that extra layer that could let loose between the tile and the base material. So if you're going to do mosaic tiles, get with Liz and perhaps have us bring one unprimed. Otherwise, you should rough sand it and sand most of that primer off so you can get into the meat of the material. So the adhesive will stick to the meat of the material and then to the mosaic.
But between December 11th and delivery of January 4th, we would know that it's your piece and that you wouldn't want it primed, and so therefore it wouldn't be.
Yeah, so that's something that we would gladly just put this one to the side and not prime it. You'll still need to sand it, but you won't have that full layer of primer on there that really should come off. When I paint our products, I don't prime them at all.
Thank you.
But all the artists, all the projects want them primed. They look nicer because the product comes out either, depends on the makeup of the resin, either a cream colored or an off-white or gray. And so by priming them with an alkyd primer, they all look nice, pretty white. And if I'm priming them, or if I'm painting something back there, I do not prime the piece first. I go directly on with my base coat. But the rule of thumb is a gesso type priming product.
Actually, when we were there and fell in love with this company, we brought home one of the penguins. I know this, I mean, Kyle didn't even know us. And he was getting these ready to send to Moscow. But I knew if I could show the committee that blasted penguin, and it was great. It was
great.
It was beautiful. And so I'm all for whatever's best for the project. So if we don't have to prime them, I mean, let's keep working, because this is a work in progress. But the gray penguin was absolutely beautiful.
And the other cool thing about it is you were able to see his fin, if that would be correct.
Yeah,
Flipper, thank you. Flipper, wing, thank you, I didn't get it right. How it tapered out. It was, because it really reflected what was going to happen
It was
with the
very
tree.
subtle. It was hardly there, but it was enough of that organic feel.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we wanted the committee to see. It was so totally different than cold steel.